Welcome, dear viewers, to another spine-tingling episode of our haunted journey. Tonight, we delve into the shadows of the Empire State to uncover the most chilling tales from New York's haunted corners. From the bustling streets of Manhattan to the eerie silence of upstate haunts, New York is a treasure trove of ghostly legends and paranormal mysteries. So, dim the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for a tour of the 10 most haunted places in New York. The Amityville Horror House, located on Long Island, stands as one of the most infamous addresses in American history. Its story begins in November of 1974, when Ronald DeFeo Jr., a troubled young man, brutally murdered his parents and 4 siblings while they slept. The gruesome crime shocked the quiet neighborhood of Amityville, leaving a scar not only on the community, but on the house itself. The colonial-style home, with its iconic peaked roof and green shutters, quickly became more than just the site of a tragic family. Murder became the center of one of the most notorious haunted house legends in the United States. In December 1975, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, moved into the house, seemingly unaware of its violent history. Within days, the family reported experiences that went far beyond ordinary unease. It began with subtle occurrences: cold drafts that seemed to have no source, doors that opened and closed on their own, and a pervasive sense of being watched. These sensations escalated quickly, developing into terrifying manifestations. George claimed to see green slime oozing from the walls, while Kathy described foul, inexplicable odors that appeared in the bedrooms and living areas without cause. The children reported hearing whispering voices and seeing shadowy figures in their rooms at night. Perhaps the most chilling reports involved physical phenomena. Beds seemed to levitate or tilt at impossible angles. Objects flew across rooms, and the lights would flicker violently, even though the wiring had been recently inspected. George Lutz himself described waking to find a demonic presence in the form of a glowing red-eyed figure sitting at the foot of his bed. In the kitchen, knives would fall from drawers, and in the living room, objects were reported moving without explanation. The sheer variety and intensity of these experiences convinced the family that something malevolent inhabited the house. Though skeptics have long debated whether the events were real, exaggerated, or psychological, investigations into the house began almost immediately. Paranormal researchers, journalists, and thrill-seekers flocked to the site, eager to uncover the truth behind the legend. Ed and Lorraine Warren, famous paranormal investigators, were called in to examine the property. They reported signs of malevolent energy, including a presence that they described as both intelligent and hostile. Despite these claims, others, including journalists and skeptics, argued that the Lutz family may have embellished their story for attention or financial gain. Yet the detailed accounts, combined with corroborating witness reports, gave the story a life of its own. Over time, the Amityville Horror House became synonymous with haunted houses in popular culture. Books, documentaries, and films chronicled the experiences of the Lutz family, each adaptation adding new layers of terror. The house's reputation as a paranormal hotspot was cemented, and it became a point of fascination for both horror enthusiasts and paranormal investigators. Some visitors, even decades later, claimed to feel unease simply standing on the property. Cold spots, sudden chills, and a lingering sense of dread are reported by those who dare to approach, reinforcing the notion that the house carries more than just a historical tragedy, carries a lingering, unseen presence. Skeptics argue that the phenomena described by the Lutz family were exaggerated or fabricated. Some suggest that the family was motivated by financial gain from book and movie deals, while others propose psychological explanations, including the impact of living in a house with a violent history. Yet for those who have felt the chilling energy around the property, the explanations seem insufficient. The house's aura is palpable, a mixture of dread, curiosity, and lingering evil. Even the police officers and neighbors who witnessed the aftermath of the DeFeo murders recall feeling an inexplicable unease when visiting the house in the months following the tragedy. Despite renovations, changes in ownership, and the passage of time, The house remains a magnet for ghost hunters and thrill seekers. People who enter report cold air where no vents exist, shadows moving in peripheral vision, and an oppressive atmosphere that intensifies as darkness falls. Some claim to have captured strange lights or unexplained sounds on cameras and audio recorders. The house has become both a tourist curiosity and a symbol of the unknown, a place where fact and legend intertwine. The story of the Amityville Horror House is not merely one of murder or tragedy. It is a tale of lingering energy, of a site where history refuses to rest. Whether one believes in ghosts, malevolent spirits, or the power of suggestion, the house's reputation persists. Its dark past has been immortalized in literature and film, influencing how society views haunted houses and the supernatural. Even today, the address on Ocean Avenue draws the curious and the brave, those eager to glimpse the infamous house and, perhaps, to feel the lingering presence that so many before them have described. In the end, the Amityville Horror House remains more than a home. It is a symbol of horror that transcends the tragic events of 1974. Its legacy lives in the stories told by the Lutz family, the research conducted by paranormal investigators, and the countless books, movies, and documentaries that keep the legend alive. For those who dare to approach it, the house is a reminder that some places may never truly be at peace. The air around the property carries the weight of its history, the sense of lives abruptly ended, and the possibility of an unseen presence that watches, waits, and refuses to be forgotten. The Amityville Horror House endures as a chilling testament to what can happen when evil, in whatever form, takes root and why. Even decades later, we remain captivated, terrified, and unable to look away. Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, nestled in the quiet village of Sleepy Hollow, New York, is a place where history and legend intertwine in the most unsettling ways. The cemetery, founded in the 19th century, serves as the final resting place for some of the area's most notable figures, including the famed author Washington Irving, whose story of the Headless Horseman immortalized the village in American folklore. Today, visitors to Sleepy Hollow Cemetery often describe experiences that blur the line between history and the supernatural, suggesting that the spirits of the past have not entirely rested. The most famous legend connected to the cemetery is, of course, that of the Headless Horseman. According to local lore, the horseman was a Hessian soldier who lost his head during the Revolutionary War, and his spirit roams the area at night searching for it. While some dismiss the tale as pure fiction, many visitors to the cemetery claim to hear the unmistakable sound of hooves pounding against the ground, echoing through the misty night. These phantom hoofbeats, often accompanied by a sudden chill, can appear from nowhere, leaving hikers and late-night wanderers frozen with fear. Shadows moving along the perimeter of the cemetery have also been reported, and some describe glimpsing a rider without a head, silhouetted against the moonlight, vanishing before a second glance can confirm what they saw. The cemetery itself is a labyrinth of narrow pathways, stone mausoleums, and ancient oaks, whose twisted branches cast eerie shadows at dusk. Many of the tombstones date back to the 17th and 18th centuries, bearing the names of families who helped shape the Hudson Valley. Visitors frequently report an overwhelming feeling of being watched as they traverse these paths, a sensation that seems to intensify when walking alone or at night. Footsteps echo when no one walks, and whispers drift through the air, as if the past residents are murmuring among themselves, sharing secrets long forgotten by the living. Certain sections of Sleepy Hollow Cemetery are particularly notorious for strange phenomena. The area near Washington Irving's grave is said to be highly active. Visitors often leave flowers or mementos at his grave, only to return later to find them disturbed or missing, as if an unseen hand has interacted with them. Others claim to see shadowy figures standing silently near the monuments, only to disappear when approached. The contrast between the serene beauty of the cemetery during the day and the oppressive, chilling energy at night is striking, and many first-time visitors are taken aback by the immediate sense of unease once the sun sets. Local guides recount that the cemetery has always been a place where the line between the living and the dead is thin, Over the decades, countless stories have surfaced of spectral sightings. Some visitors have reported seeing a headless figure gliding across the graves, while others hear the low moan of a voice calling their name when no one else is nearby. The air often becomes inexplicably cold in certain sections, and even on warm summer nights, hikers have felt a sudden drop in temperature that sends shivers down their spine. Sleepy Hollow Cemetery's reputation as a haunted location is not limited to ghostly apparitions. Many visitors report a sense of temporal distortion, feeling as though time stretches or compresses unnaturally as they walk among the tombstones. Some claim that familiar landmarks appear in the wrong places when they retrace their steps, or that they suddenly feel as though they are being led deeper into the cemetery by unseen forces. This disorienting sensation, combined with the legends of the Headless Horseman, creates a tense, almost cinematic atmosphere that has drawn paranormal enthusiasts and thrill-seekers for decades. The folklore of Sleepy Hollow has seeped into the collective consciousness of visitors, so that many approach the cemetery with heightened expectations of encountering the supernatural. Some skeptics argue that the experiences are the product of imagination fueled by stories, mist, and shadows. Yet, countless reports describe details that are difficult to attribute solely to suggestion. Footsteps in areas devoid of other people, objects moving slightly as if nudged, and sudden cold drafts all point to phenomena that cannot be easily explained. Even longtime residents of the village admit to feeling an unsettling presence in certain areas of the cemetery, especially during the hours when the moon casts long, spindly shadows across the gravestones. The sense of history at Sleepy Hollow Cemetery is palpable. Many of the headstones are weathered and worn, bearing intricate carvings of angels, skulls, and hourglasses, a stark reminder of mortality. These markers not only memorialize the dead, but seem to serve as anchors for the lingering spirits. It is perhaps this connection to the past that gives the cemetery its persistent aura of unease. Visitors sense that the people buried here are not entirely gone, that in some intangible way, their stories and energies continue to resonate among the graves and pathways. Despite its eerie reputation, Sleepy Hollow Cemetery remains a place of fascination and reverence. Guided tours often highlight both the historical significance and the paranormal lore, drawing guests who are eager to experience a tangible connection to the past. Many leave with stories of their own, recounting strange sounds, fleeting shadows, or the chilling sensation of being followed. Others report nothing, but the weight of the legend alone ensures that the cemetery's reputation endures. Sleepy Hollow Cemetery stands as a testament to the enduring power of folklore and the human imagination. Its combination of historical significance, eerie landscapes, and the legend of the Headless Horseman creates a setting where the supernatural seems plausible. For those who walk its winding paths, the cemetery is more than a resting place for the dead. It is a place where the veil between past and present, life and afterlife, feels remarkably thin. The stories told here, passed down through generations, serve as a chilling reminder that some spirits may never truly rest, and that, in Sleepy Hollow, the legends are always just a heartbeat away. Belhurst Castle, perched majestically on the edge of Lake Seneca in upstate New York, is a striking combination of grandeur and mystery. Built in the late 19th century, this castle has long attracted visitors not only for its elegant architecture and sweeping lake views, but also for its dark and unsettling history. Over the decades, the castle has been the site of numerous deaths, including suicides and drownings, leaving an aura that many describe as heavy, almost palpable. For those sensitive to the unseen, Belhurst Castle is not just a historic landmark, it's a place where the past continues to breathe, where whispers of the long-departed echo through the halls. Guests and staff alike have reported a wide array of strange phenomena. Flickering lights seem to follow visitors from room to room, often dimming or brightening without explanation. In the corridors, the echo of footsteps can be heard when no one else is around, sometimes approaching slowly, then retreating, as though an invisible figure is pacing, restless and deliberate. Doors have been known to open and close on their own, and sudden drops in temperature have been reported. leaving occupants shivering even in summer. These occurrences are so frequent that long-term staff have grown accustomed to explaining them as part of life at Belhurst Castle, but visitors often leave unsettled, carrying the memory of unexplained touches or whispered sounds that seem to come from nowhere. Among the castle's many spectral stories, the most famous is the apparition of a woman in white. Witnesses describe her as elegant, with long flowing garments that sway as if caught in a phantom breeze. Her presence, both sorrowful and serene. Some say she is a former resident who tragically died on the property, her life cut short before she could fully enjoy the grandeur of the castle she called home. Guests have reported seeing her standing at the edge of staircases, gliding silently through corridors, or gazing out windows toward the lake, her expression perpetually mournful. Others claim to have felt an invisible brush of air as she passes, or even the faint scent of perfume lingering where no one else is present. The lake itself seems to contribute to the castle's eerie atmosphere. Several drownings over the years have been linked to guests or residents who perished in Lake Seneca, often under mysterious circumstances. On misty mornings, some visitors have reported seeing vague shapes moving along the shoreline, vanishing when approached. The combination of water and architecture creates reflective surfaces that catch the light in strange ways, giving the impression of figures standing where no one is present. Many who walk along the castle's terraces or dock area speak of sudden chills and the feeling of being watched, as if unseen eyes are tracking their movements across the manicured grounds. Inside, the castle is a labyrinth of corridors, stairwells, and hidden nooks that seem almost designed for whispers to carry. Some guests report hearing faint conversations in rooms that are otherwise empty, indistinct words that vanish when they try to focus. Others have described the sensation of someone standing just behind them, only to turn and find nothing there. Mirrors and glass surfaces, often polished to a perfect shine, occasionally reflect fleeting images that disappear when looked at directly. These fleeting glimpses, combined with the castle's stately design and dim lighting in certain areas, create an environment ripe for both curiosity and fear. Belhurst Castle has also been a witness to human tragedy beyond its natural hazards. Stories of suicides and untimely deaths contribute to the pervasive feeling that the castle holds a consciousness of its own, as if the very walls absorb sorrow and refuse to let it go. Some staff recount items moving inexplicably, or the faint sound of a piano playing in the evenings when no one is in the music room. Guests have occasionally reported cold spots in the grand dining hall, and the sensation of invisible hands pressing lightly against their shoulders or arms, as though guiding them or warning them. Many paranormal investigators consider Belhurst Castle one of the most active sites in the Finger Lakes region, citing a combination of historical tragedies, unexplained phenomena, and lingering spirits as evidence. Despite tour, perhaps because of its reputation, Belhurst Castle continues to attract visitors. For those intrigued by haunted history, the castle offers a rare opportunity to experience the elegance of a bygone era while also confronting the inexplicable. Some come hoping to catch a glimpse of the woman in white, to hear a phantom footstep, or simply to sense the presence that has made the castle legendary among ghost enthusiasts. Others arrive simply to enjoy the architecture and lake views, only to leave with stories they never expected to tell. Tour guides often share these accounts with guests, recounting tales of apparitions and unexplained activity alongside historical anecdotes. Many visitors leave with a sense of awe, mixed with unease, a feeling that the castle is alive in a way that goes beyond its physical structure. Whether one believes in ghosts or sees them as reflections of history, Belhurst Castle's presence is undeniable, commanding attention and respect from anyone who steps within its walls. The legend of the woman in white and the reports of flickering lights, moving objects, and phantom footsteps have cemented Belhurst Castle's place in the pantheon of haunted locations in New York State, offering a unique, immersive experience for those willing to explore its shadowed halls. The castle's beauty and mystery combine to create a place where the past is never truly gone, where the dead seem to linger just out of sight, and where the living can catch glimpses of a world that exists alongside our own. Belhurst Castle stands as a monument to both elegance and enigma. Its stunning architecture, lakefront setting, and storied history draw visitors from near and far, while its spectral legends ensure that the castle's mysteries are passed down through generations. Whether one comes seeking a haunted adventure, a brush with history, or simply a quiet escape by Lake Seneca, the castle leaves a lasting impression. The combination of grandeur and the supernatural makes Belhurst Castle a place where stories linger, shadows move, and the past never truly sleeps, offering an unforgettable journey for those who dare to step into its haunted halls. Rolling Hills Asylum, located in East Bethany, New York, is a sprawling complex whose walls hold decades of sorrow, suffering, and inexplicable phenomena. Originally opened in the 1820s as the Genesee County Poorhouse, the facility was designed to provide shelter for the destitute and mentally ill. Over the years, it evolved into a full-fledged asylum, housing thousands of individuals, many of whom never left alive. The sheer number of lives lived and lost within its walls has left an indelible mark, creating an atmosphere heavy with lingering energy, a palpable reminder of human fragility in the passage of time. Visitors to Rolling Hills often speak of an immediate sense of unease the moment they approach the long, austere corridors, peeling paint, and decaying walls seem to exude a quiet, oppressive presence. The building's architecture, with its long hallways and numerous wings, was designed for efficiency, but now serves to amplify every creak, groan, and whisper that fills the air. Many who enter describe the sensation of being watched, an invisible attention that follows them from room to room, heightening a sense of vulnerability that is difficult to shake. One of the most common reports from guests and paranormal investigators is the sound of disembodied voices. These whispers are often unintelligible, murmurs that echo faintly down empty hallways or drift through darkened rooms. Some visitors have reported hearing their names called softly, only to find that no one is nearby. Others describe arguments or cries for help, as if replaying moments of desperation from the asylum's past. The intensity of these auditory phenomena varies, but for those sensitive to the paranormal, it is nearly impossible to ignore. Footsteps are another frequent occurrence, often heard on floors above or below, yet no one is present. Investigators have recounted the eerie experience of following the sounds, only for them to stop abruptly or change direction, as if the unseen walker has chosen to remain elusive. The sound of dragging chains is particularly unsettling. Many believe it is the residual energy of former patients restrained during periods of turmoil or treatment. This dragging sound often accompanies a sudden drop in temperature, creating a physical and emotional chill that lingers long after the moment passes. Shadowy figures are a common sight within Rolling Hills. Witnesses have described vague, human-shaped forms flitting at the edge of their vision, vanishing whenever directly looked at. Some staff members report seeing these figures standing at the end of corridors, watching silently before disappearing into walls or doors. Others have noted more disturbing apparitions, outlines of individuals in tattered clothing or hospital gowns, appearing disoriented or anguished. In certain areas, such as the old wardrooms or treatment wings, these shadows are said to be particularly active, as if the energy of past trauma is strongest where suffering was most intense. The asylum's history contributes heavily to its haunted reputation. Patients were often confined under harsh conditions, subjected to treatments that now seem cruel and inhumane. Some wings were used for isolation, others for containment of those deemed violent or unmanageable. Death was a constant presence, whether from disease, neglect, or suicide. The accumulation of such experiences appears to have left an imprint, with many believing that the souls of those who perished remained tethered to the building, unable to find peace. Visitors have also reported a variety of tactile experiences. Cold spots areas, where temperatures drop sharply, are common, often accompanied by the feeling of an unseen hand brushing against a shoulder or arm. Some claim to have felt pressure, as if someone were leaning on them or attempting to push them. Others describe the sensation of being lightly touched, or of hair being brushed back when no one else is present. These experiences, though fleeting, leave a lasting impression and add to the sense that Rolling Hills is not merely a building, but a repository of lingering consciousness. For those drawn to explore the asylum's mysteries, guided tours and paranormal investigations are available. The facility has embraced its haunted reputation, allowing brave souls to navigate the shadowed halls and darkened rooms under supervision. During these explorations, participants often encounter first-hand accounts of the phenomena that have become legendary. Footsteps echoing in empty corridors, whispers in the night, flickering lights, and the sudden feeling of being followed. Investigators sometimes report electronic disturbances, such as malfunctioning cameras or unexplained voice recordings, lending further credence to the stories of the supernatural. Despite its chilling reputation, Rolling Hills Asylum remains a site of fascination. Historians and paranormal enthusiasts alike are drawn to the location for its combination of documented history and unexplainable activity. For some, it is a place to confront the tangible remnants of past suffering. For others, it is an opportunity to experience the eerie unknown, to witness a world that seems to exist parallel to our own. The asylum's appeal lies not just in its frightening stories, but in its ability to connect the living with the echoes of lives long past. In the end, Rolling Hills Asylum is a reminder of both human fragility and the mysteries that persist beyond our understanding. Its long hallways, decaying walls, and shadowed rooms hold countless stories, many of which remain unresolved. Visitors leave with a mixture of fear, fascination, and awe, carrying with them memories of whispers, footsteps, and glimpses of figures that may or may not belong to this world. The asylum is more than just a building. It is a witness to history, a container of memory, and a place where the line between the living and the departed feels tantalizingly thin. Rolling Hills Asylum continues to captivate the imagination, offering a chilling journey into the haunted corners of New York State. The Merchant's House Museum, located in Manhattan's East Village, is a remarkable window into 19th-century New York life. Yet behind its meticulously preserved walls lies a lingering sense of the supernatural. This historic home, once the residence of the Treadwell family, has been maintained with its original furnishings, wallpaper, and creating an atmosphere frozen in time. But time, it seems, has not entirely carried away the presence of those who once lived here. The house is often described as one of the most haunted locations in New York City, a place where the past persists in whispers, footsteps, and fleeting apparitions. The Treadwell family occupied the home for nearly a century, and their attachment to the house was profound. When the last family member, Gertrude Treadwell, passed away in 1933, it seemed the family's presence lingered, unwilling to leave the place they called home for generations. Visitors frequently report strange occurrences that suggest that Treadwell's spirits still roam the rooms, preserving the rhythms of daily life in spectral form. From creaking floorboards to faint murmurs, the house seems alive with echoes of the past. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the sound of footsteps. Visitors strolling through the dimly lit hallways or ascending the creaking staircase often hear the distinct, deliberate steps of someone following them, pacing in rooms that appear empty. At times, the footsteps stop abruptly when one turns a corner, only to resume elsewhere, creating the unnerving impression that unseen observers are moving about in another layer of reality. Some have described the sound of hurried steps late at night, as if someone were trying to catch up or escape, while others report slow, measured pacing, the rhythm of someone accustomed to the house's old floors and narrow corridors. Whispers are another frequent encounter in the Merchant's House Museum. Guests have reported hearing faint voices, too soft to fully comprehend, drifting through the parlor, dining room, or upstairs bedrooms. Often, these whispers seem to originate from rooms that are completely empty, giving the impression of private conversations held by invisible residents. Occasionally, the whispers escalate into brief, unintelligible chatter or the soft exclamation of a name, as if Gertrude herself or another family member were responding to an unseen visitor. These auditory experiences leave many feeling as though they are intruding upon a space that is still very much occupied, even if by unseen tenants. Among the most famous apparitions is Gertrude Treadwell herself. She is often described as a faint, elegant figure appearing in the parlor or on the staircase. Dressed in the fashion of the 19th century, visitors have glimpsed her standing silently, staring out of a window, or gliding slowly along the hall. The figure is usually fleeting, vanishing when approached, but the impression of her presence lingers long after she disappears. Some claim that her demeanor is protective, as if she watches over the home she knew so well, while others feel a sense of melancholy, a reflection of a life rooted deeply in the past. Piano music is another hallmark of the house's hauntings. In rooms that once hosted musical gatherings, guests sometimes hear the soft strains of piano notes, delicate and intermittent, echoing as though someone is practicing or recalling melodies long forgotten. No one is ever seen at the piano when these sounds occur, leaving an eerie, almost intimate sense that the house itself is alive with the activities of its former occupants. The music often fades gradually, as if carried away by invisible hands, and leaves a lingering chill in the air. The architecture and layout of the house contribute to its haunting qualities. Narrow hallways, high ceilings, and period furnishings amplify sounds and cast shadows that seem to move independently of the light. Even during the daytime, the atmosphere is hushed and contemplative, as if the house itself resists intrusion. Visitors have described rooms where the air feels heavier, charged with an almost tangible presence. Lights flicker unexpectedly, objects appear slightly displaced, and cold spots can descend in an otherwise warm room. These occurrences create a sense of walking in a space where the past is present, and the boundary between living and spectral reality is fragile. Paranormal investigators and curious tourists alike are drawn to the Merchant's House Museum for these experiences. The house offers a combination of historical richness and supernatural allure that few other locations can match. Guided tours often include anecdotes of spectral sightings and unexplained phenomena, blending documented history with the personal experiences of those who have felt the house's subtle influence. Photographers and investigators have sometimes captured anomalies in photographs or video, further fueling speculation about the house's persistent energies. Despite the unsettling experiences, many visitors feel a deep sense of connection rather than fear. The apparitions and sounds are rarely threatening. Instead, they are reminders of lives once lived, of family routines, and the personal histories embedded in the walls. Guests often leave with a mixture of awe, reverence, and curiosity, touched by the uncanny sense that they have shared a moment with those who came before them. The Merchant's House Museum allows a unique encounter with history, providing a tangible and ghostly bridge between the past and present. In conclusion, the Merchant's House Museum is more than just a preserved 19th century home. It is a vessel for the spirits of the Treadwell family and the echoes of their long lives. Footsteps, whispers, piano music, and fleeting apparitions make the house a living testament to the enduring presence of history and memory. Visitors leave with stories of encounters that are difficult to explain, yet impossible to forget. The Merchant's House Museum stands as both a historical treasure and a haunting experience, reminding us that some homes are never truly empty, and that the lives and spirits of the past continue to reside quietly within the walls of New York City's East Village. The White Horse Tavern, nestled in the heart of Greenwich Village, New York City, has long been a magnet for writers, artists, and dreamers. Established in 1880, it is one of the oldest continuously operating taverns in Manhattan, a place where the air is thick with history and stories. Its creaking floors and time-worn wooden bar have seen generations pass through, but few know that beyond the laughter, clinking glasses, and lively conversations, the tavern holds a darker, more spectral presence. This historic pub, immortalized by its literary clientele, has earned a reputation as one of New York City's most haunted watering holes, drawing curious visitors and ghost enthusiasts eager to glimpse the supernatural. The most famous spectral resident is the poet Dylan Thomas, who tragically passed away at the tavern in 1953. Thomas, known for his brilliant yet turbulent life, reportedly died after consuming an excessive amount of alcohol during a visit to the White Horse. Over the decades, stories of his lingering presence have grown, and today, patrons swear that the poet's spirit continues to roam the dimly lit rooms of the establishment, lingering among the tables and the bar where he once spent his final hours. Those sensitive to the paranormal report an intangible energy, a feeling that someone unseen is observing the room, taking in the ongoing revelry with quiet interest. One of the most common occurrences involves objects moving seemingly on their own. Glasses shift across the tables, and sometimes they tip slightly, as though nudged by invisible hands. Staff members have recounted stories of trays of drinks sliding across the bar without explanation, and of chairs rattling or being displaced after hours. These phenomena are often subtle, almost teasing, and they contribute to the tavern's unique atmosphere, a sense that the past and present coexist, layered together like the pages of a book left open on a wooden counter. Patrons sometimes laugh nervously when their drink shifts, assuming a playful ghost might be partaking in their company. The tavern's ambience also amplifies the eerie occurrences. Its low ceilings, exposed wooden beams, and vintage create shadows that twist and stretch in unpredictable ways. On quiet nights, when the laughter fades and the bar is nearly empty, the slightest creak of the floor or whisper of a draft can feel like a presence moving unseen. Guests have described sudden chills that sweep through their bodies, a cold touch on the back of the neck, or the unmistakable sensation of being watched, even when alone. Many report that these experiences are concentrated near the tables and corners where Dylan Thomas spent his last moments, further fueling the belief that the poet's spirit is at the heart of the tavern's haunting. Whispers are another frequent and unsettling phenomenon. Staff and patrons occasionally hear faint voices that seem to carry across the room, barely audible yet distinctly human. Some describe hearing the cadence of Thomas's poetic voice, reciting lines or uttering phrases that fade as quickly as they appear. Others report laughter, clinking glasses, or the murmur of conversations from a time long past. The echoes of history linger, creating an environment where the boundaries between the living and the dead feel permeable. These auditory experiences often leave visitors simultaneously fascinated and uneasy. A reminder that the tavern is more than just a place to enjoy a drink. It is a space steeped in the energies of those who came before. The White Horse Tavern's haunted reputation extends to the staff, many of whom have encountered inexplicable phenomena while performing their nightly duties. Bartenders have reported taps turning on without command, the soft shifting of bottles on shelves, and the sound of footsteps in areas where no one is present. Some swear that plates or utensils are occasionally knocked over by an unseen hand. Yet, despite these unusual happenings, most staff describe the experiences as benign, as if the spirits are more interested in interacting with the environment than causing harm. Many believe that the tavern's ghosts, particularly Thomas, are simply replaying echoes of their former lives, caught between the world of the living and the realm of memory. For visitors, the haunting adds a layer of intrigue to the tavern's charm. Ghost enthusiasts and literary fans alike are drawn to the White Horse to witness firsthand the place where history, tragedy, and the supernatural intertwine. And investigators have recorded unusual sounds on audio devices. Whether or not one believes in ghosts, the experiences reported by patrons and staff alike create an undeniable sense that the tavern is more than a mere building. It is a living archive of stories, some written in ink, others in the ephemeral language of the unseen. The tavern's cultural and paranormal significance is inseparable. Its storied past attracts writers, artists, and curious minds, while its haunted reputation invites those seeking a brush with the inexplicable. Patrons often leave with tales to tell, recounting subtle movements, chilling sensations, or fleeting glimpses of a figure in the corner of the room. Even for skeptics, the atmosphere is unmistakably a place where the weight of history is palpable, where memories of life, creativity, and tragedy seem to hover just above the wooden floors and behind the antique mirrors. In conclusion, the White Horse Tavern is far more than a historic Greenwich Village pub. It is a space where literature, history, and the supernatural converge. From the playful shifting of glasses to the haunting presence of Dylan Thomas, the tavern provides a unique encounter with the past that is both fascinating and unsettling. Patrons step into a world where the ordinary and the extraordinary coexist, and for those willing to stay, the tavern offers a glimpse into a lingering history that refuses to fade. Whether one visits for the drinks, the stories, or the spirits, the White Horse Tavern remains a place where the echoes of the past are always present, inviting all who enter to witness the hauntings of New York City's literary legacy. The Dakota, standing proudly on Manhattan's Upper West Side, is more than an architectural landmark. It is a building steeped in history, glamour, and tragedy. Completed in 1884, its ornate facades and grand interiors have housed some of New York City's most famous residents, from musicians and actors to writers and socialites. Yet beneath the beauty and prestige lies a reputation for the uncanny, a quiet hum of ghostly energy that has intrigued residents, visitors, and paranormal enthusiasts for decades. The Dakota is not just a home. It is a place where the past lingers, sometimes in ways that are difficult to explain. Perhaps the most well-known spectral presence is that of John Lennon, the legendary musician who lived in the Dakota with Yoko Ono. In December 1980, Lennon was tragically murdered just outside the building, an event that shocked the world and left an indelible mark on the Dakota's history. Since that day, numerous reports have emerged from residents, doormen, and visitors claiming strange phenomena linked to the late musician. Some have described seeing a figure resembling Lennon near the main entrance, appearing almost translucent, only to vanish when approached. Others recount hearing faint music, the echoes of his songs drifting through the hallways in the quiet of the night, despite no one playing a note. The aura of grief and remembrance seems to linger, as though the building itself holds a memory of the tragedy, manifesting in subtle, eerie ways. But Lennon is not the only spirit said to inhabit the Dakota. The building's long history, dating back to the late 19th century, has created a tapestry of stories involving former residents who have never truly left. Doormen and maintenance staff report hearing footsteps in hallways when no one is present, and the sound of doors opening and closing by themselves is a frequent occurrence. Some describe elevators stopping on certain floors with no call button pressed, accompanied by a sudden drop in temperature or a sense of unseen eyes watching. Others have experienced the strange sensation of being followed as they walk through the grand corridors, the hair on their arms standing on end despite the warmth of the day. In addition to auditory and visual phenomena, there are numerous reports of objects moving inexplicably. Residents have found furniture shifted slightly from its original position or items left in unusual locations without explanation. One longtime resident recalls waking to find a lamp tilted, as though nudged by a gentle hand, despite the room being empty. Guests staying temporarily in the building have reported similar experiences: books slightly displaced, keys found in unexpected spots, and the occasional flicker of lights, even when the electrical system shows no fault. While subtle, these events contribute to the Dakota's eerie reputation, hinting at a presence that is attentive, perhaps even protective, of the building and its occupants. The Dakota's architectural features themselves seem to amplify the sense of the paranormal. Its high ceilings, ornate staircases, and labyrinthine corridors create pockets of shadow and quiet, places where imagination and reality blend. At night, the interplay of dim lighting and echoes along the stone walls can make ordinary sounds, creaking floors, distant conversations feel otherworldly. Residents describe walking down corridors late at night and sensing a presence just out of sight, or catching a glimpse of a fleeting shadow moving across the periphery of vision. For those who have lived in or visited the Dakota, it is easy to believe that some of the building's previous inhabitants continue to traverse its halls in unseen ways. Some stories are linked to specific apartments or areas within the building. Certain units are reputed to be particularly active, with reports of cold spots, unexplained noises, or fleeting apparitions. Residents who have lived in these apartments for years often learn to coexist with the subtle disturbances, sometimes leaving small offerings or simply acknowledging the presence. Other areas, such as the lobby and the grand entrance, have their own tales, where the energy of past events, both joyous and tragic, seems concentrated. Visitors often leave the Dakota with stories of inexplicable sounds, glimpses of shadowy figures, or an overwhelming sense of the building's long memory pressing gently upon them. The combination of celebrity history, architectural grandeur, and tragic events has made the Dakota a magnet for those fascinated by the supernatural. Paranormal investigators, writers, and curious tourists are drawn to its steps and hallways, hoping to catch a glimpse of the unexplained. Photographs occasionally capture strange anomalies, blurred figures, odd lights, or shadows that defy the source of illumination. Audio recordings sometimes pick up faint whispers or echoes that cannot be attributed to any living person. While skeptics abound, the consistency of certain reports has cemented the Dakota's reputation as one of New York City's most enigmatic and haunted locations. Despite the eerie occurrences, residents often describe the building with a mix of affection and respect. Many have grown accustomed to its peculiarities, interpreting them as the lingering presence of a rich history rather than something to fear. The Dakota is more than just a home. It is a living museum of lives lived, loves lost, and stories etched into its very walls. Its ghostly residents, from the well-known figure of John Lennon to countless others long forgotten, are part of its character, reminding occupants and visitors alike that some histories refuse to fade quietly. In conclusion, the Dakota is a unique intersection of history, celebrity, and the paranormal. Its walls have witnessed decades of human experience, both joyous and tragic, and the echoes of these moments continue to resonate in subtle, often unsettling ways. From shadowy figures gliding through corridors to unexplained sounds and cold spots, the Dakota remains a building where the past is never entirely gone. Visitors and residents alike find themselves captivated, sometimes unnerved, by the feeling that the building remembers, watches, and quietly preserves the spirits of those who once called it home. Whether one is drawn by architecture, fame, or the allure of the supernatural, the Dakota offers a hauntingly vivid experience of New York City's enduring mysteries. Perched atop a hill on Staten Island, the Kreischer Mansion has long stood as a silent sentinel over its surrounding neighborhood. Built in 1885 by Balthasar Kreischer, a German immigrant who made his fortune in brickmaking, the mansion was intended as both a family residence and a statement of wealth. Its grand Victorian architecture, with sweeping porches, ornate woodwork, and intricate detailing, reflects the pride and ambition of its original owner. Yet, beneath its stately appearance, the mansion carries a weight of tragedy, mystery, and restless spirits that have fascinated ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts for decades. Balthasar Kreischer's life was not without its shadows. Though he achieved financial success, family tensions, misfortune, and untimely deaths marked the household. Stories of disappearances, accidents, and strange illnesses became intertwined with the mansion's history, creating a sense that the estate was never entirely at peace. Today, visitors report an uncanny atmosphere even before stepping inside. Many describe a sudden drop in temperature upon approaching the house, as though the hill itself were charged with unseen energy. The grand doors, once welcoming, now seem to guard secrets within. Inside, the mansion exudes both elegance and eerie. The large rooms, once filled with laughter and the hum of family life, are now quiet, but not empty. Guests and investigators consistently report strange occurrences, furniture shifting without explanation, doors that swing open or shut on their own, and lights flickering in rooms with no electrical faults. Cameras and phones often capture anomalies, blurred figures, orbs of light, and ghostly faces appearing unexpectedly in photographs. Many believe these manifestations are connected to the Kreischer family themselves, eternally tied to the home they once cherished. The most frequently reported spirit is that of Balthasar Kreischer himself, Witnesses describe seeing a tall, imposing figure in period attire wandering the halls or standing silently by the grand staircase. Some have reported hearing heavy footsteps pacing through empty rooms, the echo of movement from someone who is no longer living. Others recount seeing the faces of family members in mirrors or photographs momentarily shift, as though the past were overlaying itself onto the present. A chilling sense of being watched is common among those exploring the mansion, particularly in the late hours when the estate is quietest. The mansion's outdoor spaces are no less haunted. The sprawling grounds, once landscaped for leisure and social gatherings, now evoke an air of mystery. Visitors have seen shadowy figures moving along the perimeter, sometimes appearing to watch intruders or simply traverse the gardens. At night, the estate is said to emit sounds that seem to belong to the past. The faint clatter of horse-drawn carriages, the rustle of footsteps on gravel paths, and the echo of voices that cannot be attributed to any living person. Some claim that the spirits of the Kreischer family continue to walk these grounds, performing routines from long ago, bound to the mansion that defined their lives. Tragedy did not cease with the Kreischer family's era. In 2005, a May-related murder on the property reignited interest in the mansion's dark history. The violent events seemed to deepen the sense of unrest, as if the house absorbed the pain and terror of every life-altering moment within its walls. Since then, reports of paranormal activity have intensified. Investigators using modern equipment have recorded unexplained electromagnetic fluctuations, sudden drops in temperature, and voices captured on audio devices that appear to have no source. Some who spend extended periods in the mansion report physical sensations, an invisible hand brushing against them, a sudden chill, or the hair on their arms standing on end without explanation. Certain areas of the mansion are particularly active. The grand parlor, with its high ceilings and ornate fireplace, is often cited as a hotspot for ghostly sightings. Guests have seen shadowy figures move across the room or glimpsed apparitions near the windows, peering out as if expecting someone to return. The library and study, filled with ancient books and heavy furnishings, seem to hold residual energy from decades past. Doors in these rooms swing open inexplicably, and objects occasionally fall or shift, as though handled by invisible hands. Even staircases, a central feature of the mansion's design, are the site of spectral movement, with unseen figures ascending or descending in silence. The Kreischer mansion also captivates through the stories passed down over generations. Local lore suggests that Balthasar Kreischer's attachment to the property was so profound that he could not leave it even in death. Similarly, family members who met untimely ends are thought to linger, their presence detectable in fleeting glimpses, unexplained noises, and the chilling sensation of another consciousness nearby. For many visitors, these experiences create a sense of connection to the past, even as they are unnerved by the tangible feeling of otherworldly observers. For paranormal investigators, the mansion offers a wealth of activity. Overnight stays often yield reports of shadow figures in peripheral vision, doors closing on their own, and the sensation of cold spots moving throughout the building. Equipment such as infrared cameras and EVP recorders frequently pick up anomalies, ranging from indistinct whispers to brief visual distortions that cannot be explained by natural phenomena. Many conclude that the Kreischer mansion is not simply a historic site, but a nexus of residual energy, a place where tragedy, history, and unresolved spirits converge. Visitors to the mansion describe a mixture of awe and apprehension. The architecture is undeniably beautiful, and the stories of its former residents compelling. Yet, the sense of the supernatural permeates every corner. Whether glimpsing a shadow at the edge of a room, hearing an inexplicable sound, or sensing the watchful presence of the Kreischer family, the mansion offers a hauntingly vivid experience. It reminds those who enter that history is not always confined to books or photographs. Sometimes it lives on in unexpected, unsettling ways. In conclusion, the Kreischer mansion stands as a monument to both history and mystery. From its grand Victorian design to the tragic events that shaped its legacy, The estate is a place where the past continues to manifest in subtle and overt ways. Guests and investigators alike are drawn to its allure, compelled by the promise of witnessing something beyond the ordinary. The spirits of Balthasar, Kreischer, and his family are said to still roam its halls. Their presence a reminder that even in death, some attachments remain unbroken. For those willing to step inside, the Kreischer mansion offers a haunting experience that intertwines architectural beauty, human history, and the persistent mysteries of the afterlife. The Erie Canal Museum in Syracuse stands as both a testament to New York's industrial history and a magnet for the unexplained. Housed in the historic Waylock Building, constructed in the mid-19th century, the museum preserves the legacy of the Erie Canal. Once a bustling artery of commerce connecting the Great Lakes to the Hudson River, within its thick brick walls, the echoes of human endeavor seem to linger, but not all those echoes belong to the living. Over the years, visitors and staff alike have reported phenomena that suggest the spirits of the past are far from silent. The Waylock Building's original purpose was to weigh canal boats as they passed through Syracuse, ensuring proper tolls and keeping commerce running smoothly. For decades, workers toiled here, children played in the surrounding yards, and families made the canal a central part of their lives. The museum's exhibits preserve artifacts from this era, models of canal boats, old scales, and historic documents, but some say the most compelling artifacts are invisible and move through the halls unseen. Staff frequently report hearing footsteps echo across hallways when no one is present, and the creaking of old wooden floors is sometimes accompanied by the faint murmurs of conversations long past. One of the most commonly reported phenomena is the sound of children laughing. Visitors exploring the upper floors or wandering through exhibit rooms often describe sudden bursts of giggles that seem to come from nowhere. The laughter is described as playful, sometimes mischievous, but it carries an undertone of sadness, as if the spirits of these children are trapped in a moment that never ended. In some instances, patrons have claimed to see fleeting glimpses of small figures darting across hallways or behind displays, vanishing the moment they try to focus on them. Staff have learned to recognize these sounds not as disturbances, but as part of the building's living history, a connection to those who once inhabited it. Adult spirits have made their presence known as well. Some report heated arguments, the echoes of voices clashing over matters of business or personal disputes. These disembodied conversations often occur in the evening, long after the museum has closed, leaving security personnel uneasy as they patrol empty corridors. The voices can be sharp and urgent, sometimes rising in frustration and then abruptly fading, as if the speakers themselves are aware of being overheard. In combination with the sounds of footsteps pacing halls and doors that creak without human touch, these experiences contribute to the museum's reputation as one of Syracuse's most haunted locations. Several employees recount moments when artifacts seem to take on a life of their own. Display cases occasionally rattle, despite being secured, and small objects have been known to shift slightly from their original positions. While many of these occurrences can be attributed to the age of the building or natural settling, others defy easy explanation. Witnesses often report a feeling of being watched while handling certain items, or a sudden drop in temperature that makes even the warmest summer days feel uncomfortably cold. Some claim these are residual energies left behind by workers and visitors who interacted with the objects in life, their impressions lingering in the very material of the building. The museum's staircases are also sites of paranormal activity. Staff and visitors alike have reported hearing hurried footsteps climbing or descending steps when the areas are completely empty. Occasionally, the sound of a wooden crate being moved or a door softly slamming resonates through the building, as if canal workers from long ago are still attending to their daily duties. These sounds are particularly pronounced in the evenings, when the echoing acoustics of the old structure amplify even the faintest noises. It is in these moments that the museum feels less like a repository of history and more like a living memory, replaying fragments of life from a century and a half ago. One of the most compelling aspects of the Erie Canal Museum's hauntings is the way they connect visitors to history. Tourists often report a mix of fascination and unease as they walk through the exhibits, sometimes sensing presences behind them or catching movement in the corner of their vision. Paranormal investigators have documented instances of unexplained electromagnetic fluctuations, cold spots, and faint audio recordings of voices that do not correspond to any living person. Many speculate that the building acts as a thin placer location, where the boundary between past and present, the living and the dead, is unusually permeable. Despite tour perhaps because of these experiences, the Erie Canal Museum has embraced its haunted reputation. Ghost tours and special evening events allow curious visitors to experience the building's paranormal side safely, while still learning about the canal's pivotal role in New York history. Tour guides often share first-hand accounts from staff and patrons, emphasizing that these spectral encounters are not malevolent, but rather echoes of lives once intertwined with the museum's daily operations. This dual identity, both educational institution and haunted landmark, adds to the Erie Canal Museum's unique appeal, drawing enthusiasts of history and the supernatural alike. Visitors frequently leave the museum with a sense that they have walked alongside the past. The laughter of children, the echo of footsteps, and the faint murmurs of arguments create an immersive experience, blurring the line between history and haunting. Whether these experiences are truly paranormal or the result of suggestion and imagination, the stories themselves have become an integral part of the museum's legacy. Ensuring that the Waylock building remains more than just bricks and mortar, it is a living testament to those who once walked its halls, both in life and in spirit. The Erie Canal Museum in Syracuse stands as a bridge between eras, preserving history while allowing the whispers of the past to surface. Its hallways and exhibit rooms echo with the sounds of lives long gone, reminding visitors that history is not only found in documents and artifacts, but sometimes in the inexplicable and the unseen. For those drawn to the supernatural, the museum offers an encounter with the unknown, where the spirits of workers and children, perhaps longing to be remembered, continue to play their roles within the walls they once called home. Vale Cemetery, established in 1857 in Schenectady, New York, is a place where history and the supernatural intersect. Spanning over 50 acres, the cemetery is the final resting place for countless individuals, from prominent local figures to everyday residents. Its winding paths, ornate tombstones, and towering monuments give the cemetery a quiet dignity by day. Yet, by night, those same features seem to take on a more sinister character. Visitors and local residents have long reported experiences that suggest the spirits of the past have not entirely departed. One of the most frequently reported phenomena at Vale Cemetery is the appearance of ghostly figures moving among the graves. Witnesses describe seeing shadowy forms gliding along the headstones, often disappearing when approached. Some have reported seeing individuals in clothing from centuries past, their features blurred yet unmistakably human. These apparitions are often seen near older sections of the cemetery, where the graves date back to the mid-19th century. Visitors claim the figures are sometimes engaged in silent gestures, such as kneeling in prayer or reaching out toward the living, giving the impression that they are bound by unfinished business or a lingering attachment to the world of the living. The cemetery's chapel, though long unused, has its own share of ghostly activity. Several visitors have reported hearing the faint strains of hymns or choral singing emanating from the building. Even when it is completely empty, the voices are described as ethereal, distant, and often accompanied by the feeling of being watched. Some witnesses have suggested that the music belongs to long-departed choirs who once performed there, their spirits lingering to carry on their devotion. Others report hearing whispers in languages they cannot identify, as if the dead themselves are conversing in a realm beyond the living. Adding to the cemetery's unsettling atmosphere are the statues that adorn many of the older plots. Some visitors have claimed to witness the stone figure's eyes appearing to bleed or glisten as if with tears, a phenomenon that occurs only when no other logical explanation is present. One particularly eerie statue, depicting an angel with outstretched wings, has been the site of multiple reports. Observers describe feeling an intense gaze from the statue, as though it is silently judging or warning them. The combination of shadows, flickering candlelight from occasional visitors, and the natural play of moonlight on the stone creates an environment where imagination and reality intertwine, and it becomes difficult to discern what is real. Vale Cemetery's haunted reputation is enhanced by the stories of those buried within its grounds. Many of the cemetery's residents lived through turbulent periods in American history, including the Civil War and the industrial expansion of Schenectady. Some of the most frequently reported ghostly sightings are near the graves of individuals who experience sudden or violent deaths, leading locals to speculate that trauma can leave a residual imprint on the environment. Even those not directly connected to tragedy sometimes report a sense of cold dread, as if the cemetery itself is charged with lingering sorrow. Visitors to Vale Cemetery often report other unsettling experiences as well. Sudden temperature drops, inexplicable breezes, and the sound of footsteps on gravel paths when no one is present are common occurrences. Some hikers and photographers who visit during twilight have captured unexplained mists or orbs of light in photographs, which cannot be accounted for by natural phenomena. While skeptics attribute these experiences to overactive imagination or natural environmental factors, those who have felt the chilling presence firsthand often leave with a profound respect for the cemetery's supernatural dimension. One of the more personal stories comes from a couple visiting in the autumn months. As they walked the winding paths lined with amber and crimson leaves, they noticed a figure ahead, dressed in 19th century attire. The figure stood silently by a headstone, watching them. When they attempted to approach, the figure vanished, leaving only a cold breeze in its wake. Both reported a sense of sadness and longing emanating from the area, and later discovered that the grave belonged to a young woman who had passed away in the late 1800s. Experiences like this have contributed to the belief that Vale Cemetery is not merely a resting place, but a space where the dead remain tethered to certain locations or emotions. Vale Cemetery is also noted for its architectural and natural beauty, which paradoxically heightens the impact of its hauntings. The ornate mausoleums, Victorian-era monuments, and tree-lined avenues provide a serene backdrop during daylight. But as dusk falls, shadows deepen, and the atmosphere changes. It is during these hours that many of the reported paranormal experiences occur, suggesting that the cemetery holds a different energy after dark. Local ghost tours often highlight these locations, giving participants the opportunity to hear first-hand accounts of ghostly sightings while exploring the historic grounds. Despite the eerie reports, Vale Cemetery retains a sense of reverence and respect. Visitors are encouraged to tread carefully, and many who come seeking supernatural encounters emphasize the importance of approaching the space with an open mind and a quiet heart. Whether one believes in spirits or views the experiences as psychological phenomena, there is little doubt that Vale Cemetery evokes a profound emotional response. The combination of history, architecture, and reported paranormal activity ensures that the cemetery is more than a simple resting place, is a living testament to memory, loss, and the enduring presence of the past. Vale Cemetery in Schenectady stands as a reminder that even in death, stories can linger. Ghostly figures, unexplained sounds, and statues that seem to weep contribute to an atmosphere where history feels alive, and the line between the living and the dead becomes blurred. Visitors leave with a sense that they have glimpsed more than stone and earth. They have touched a place where memory and spirit intertwine, a cemetery that quietly keeps its own secrets and invites the brave to experience the mysteries that have endured for over a century and a half. And there you have it, the 10 most haunted places in New York. Each location carries its own unique story, blending history with the supernatural. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, these sites offer a glimpse into the mysteries that lie just beyond our understanding. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep your lights on and your mind open, for the next ghostly tale is always just around the corner.